Hey y'all, welcome to episode 3. This has been so much
Yay!
fun. So we're
I know.
excited. Today we were going to talk about and kind of dive into loving our husbands well. I think that's what we decided we're going to call it.
Yeah.
We want to just go ahead and start by saying we are coming during this chat. We are coming from a place of being stay-at-home moms now. We haven't always
Mhm.
been, but stay-at-home moms now with, working in the home as well.
Mhm.
With jobs that we can kind of take care of our homes and our families, you know, and
Yeah.
work from in the home. So just to kind
Mhm.
of preface that, I guess, before we get started.
And coming from a place of like some pretty traditional Christian values.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
that's who we are, and I think
Mhm.
that's important to put out there in the beginning. That's what we're going to be talking about.
And we understand not
So,
everybody is,
right.
I mean, you might not even agree with some things that how
Yeah.
we choose to love our husbands and our families,
Mhm.
but some of you might be right there with us. So that's why we want to chat about it.
Yeah.
So, I guess really to get started, we're gonna like start off with a bang about being a traditional wife in a modern world, right?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, we both love to take care of our homes, take care of
Mhm.
our husbands. We feel like that is a huge part of our jobs
Mhm.
as a wife and a mom. So we're kind of just gonna dive into that.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and then Kelsey, I guess if you want to kind of talk about, I know we were chatting obviously before this, like we
Mhm.
always do, chatting about how it took a while for you even to get to the position where y'all were both in agreement of you being a stay-at-home
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah. So it took us, I mean, I worked up until COVID. So Reed was, I guess they turned one the year COVID hit.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Okay.
because actually
Mhm.
everything shut down. I remember Lakin's first birthday party
It was
was
after
like
that.
the last big thing we did.
Mhm.
We had
Yeah.
tons of people at the house, and that was it.
Yeah.
Everything like
That was
was over
2020,
after that.
right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I worked up until June of 2020. I worked full time until COVID hit, out of the home, also in the home, but when I was working from home, it was still like an 8 like clocking in 8 to 5. My kids went to daycare. So to me, that's more so out of the home. It wasn't like a work from home, still take care of my home during the day type setup. So COVID hit and they cut my hours down to part time. And Mikey and I were juggling the back and forth of like working. I'd get up at 4 and I'd work 4 to 6 a.m. And then the kids would start waking up. I'd take over the kids, and then he'd go work 6 to 8, and then we would swap. And that's kind of how we did things during COVID. And then come June, when they asked me to go back full time, Mikey was finally like, "Hey, no, happy Mother's Day. You're going to become a stay at home mom." Which, backstory on that, I always wanted to be a stay at home mom. And I was raised by a stay at home mom.
Mm.
Mikey was raised by a full time working single mom. So we were raised by two very different yet very, very amazing women. We just had different mindsets of like what that was going to look like for us. So it just took him a little while to come around to me being a stay at home mom. And now that I have been a stay at home mom for 3 years, 4 years now, three, I guess going on four, he will tell you it's one of the best things that ever happened to our family.
Yeah.
um, which is big for him to say that. But he's been able to advance his career in ways that probably wouldn't have been possible if I was trying to climb a corporate ladder myself. And I don't know, it's worked out really well for us. It was a long road to get here, but now that we're here, it's been awesome.
And then we decided to start Keep Life Simple. It's like,
I know.
let's wear
Yep.
some more hats.
Yeah. Let's wear some more
But
hats.
that's okay. It's fun. And we can
Mhm.
do it inside our homes on our own terms and flexibility,
Exactly.
which
Yeah.
is a huge, huge thing. So we can still be
Hmm.
there for them and the kids. Um, okay, so let's just kind of chat. And obviously, our marriages are not perfect. No marriage is
No.
perfect
No. But
by any
between the
means.
two of us, I mean, we're both been married going on 10 years.
Yeah,
So
this year we're
we've
both celebrating
learned,
10 years.
yeah, we have learned, so we have been through peaks and valleys and learned so much
Mhm,
about marriage in these last 10 years, you
mhm.
know?
Yeah, I mean, you think about in 10 years what all you go through from being fun all the time,
Mhm.
not a worry in the world. This is
Mhm.
when we really became friends was
Yeah.
actually before we were married, so we witnessed both. That's a whole other
Yeah.
story for another day too, but witnessed us go through the newlywed stage,
Yeah.
um and then from there, I mean, just having fun in the newlywed stage too, then bringing in
Mhm.
kids, and then now the
Mhm.
kids are older, and Kelsey's kids are about to be both full-time in school 5 days a week. Like
Mhm.
all these different stages of life
So
goes through
many.
different stages of marriage.
Mhm.
100%.
Well, and, like, you're not
Um,
the same person that you were when you met your spouse,
no,
like,
not at
and I think
all.
that's, like, the biggest thing about marriage is, like, we're all evolving individually, but, like, as a partnership, you have to evolve
Well, and I used to
together.
kind of like chuckle at the whole like you're going to change throughout the years. You're not,
Yeah.
not going to be the same person you were when you married your husband. And I used to kind of think that was not true. I'm like, we're the same
Yeah.
people. We'll always be the same people.
Yeah.
But you do change, and
Mhm.
you are the same person, and that's why as a mom, you do always strive to find that person again. But they
Mhm.
are in you, but also like it's okay to change and evolve to
Yeah.
a different
Of
type of
course.
wife, type of mom throughout the
Mhm.
years. Like I secretly, I'm not wishing anything away, but I always tell my friends, I'm like, I kind of can't wait till like my 40s. I feel like it's
Yeah.
gonna be super fun. The kids are
Yeah.
older to where
Mhm.
a little bit more freedom, like better vacations with them. I feel like it's gonna
Yeah.
be fun. I don't
Yeah.
dread turning 40, which
No.
I'm about to turn 35, so I still got a handful of years, but I don't know. It just every
Yeah.
stage looks so different. Your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, it is true. And
Yeah.
same your stages of marriage. So
Mhm. Absolutely.
then I think one of the things that we strived to now, let's talk about like today's time.
Mhm.
The past is the past. We've definitely gone through our ups and downs 100%. But let's talk
Mhm.
about today and how we do strive as the wives we are,
Mhm.
how we strive to make our husbands happy. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want, right?
Mhm.
They always say happy mom, happy
Happy
life,
wife, happy
happy
life.
wife, happy life. Yeah, yeah.
But I think it
Uh,
goes both ways.
oh,
Like, I think like,
100% it
I
goes both
hate that
ways.
saying so much.
No, because it's not just happy wife, it's happy husband too. I mean,
Mhm.
they there's a lot on their shoulders.
They carry so much
So
that
much.
it's so easy to, like, when we're in the thick of tiny humans and raising them and the diapers and all the things that come along with being a mom to young kids, our husbands are
Well, you can
carrying.
wrap up you get so wrapped up in everything I have to
Yeah.
do every day.
Yeah.
Like, me and Brandon joke all the time. I'm like, "You wanna stay home with the kids and I'll go
He's
I'll
like,
go to
"No.
work," and he's like,
No."
"Nope." I mean, you you joke about it, but at the
Mhm.
same time, God made us the way we are, right? I
He
mean,
did.
we are the home keepers.
Mhm.
And I do feel like when you get into that hustle and bustle of little kids and diaper changes and
Mhm.
all the meals you have to making sure they're fed, making sure they've drank enough today, making sure that they're have clean clothes on for school and their breath doesn't stink, all the little
Mhm.
things to even get them out the door in the morning, you forget what's weighing on your husband's shoulders
Mhm.
too.
Yeah. Which
Um,
is to be a provider. Like, so this word is gonna ruffle so many feathers, but,
mhm,
like, God calls us to submit
mhm.
to our husbands, and I think that's something that you and I take pretty seriously in our
Very
marriage.
seriously. And people take that word and they make it something
But
that
we take it
it's
from a
not too.
biblical context, and, like,
Yeah.
we choose to submit to our husband. I was just trying to look up the verse that I had one written down.
Yeah.
It says, "Wives, submit to your husbands as you do the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything." That's Ephesians 5:22 to 24.
Yeah.
But with that, he also calls husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. So
Exactly.
submission is something that I think is like,
It's so easy, right, to take that first part of that
yeah,
and be like, "Oh, wives are just supposed to submit to their husbands," but there's a role for your husband as well.
absolutely, yeah.
And so, I mean, it's that's where I feel like, I mean, social media, mommy wine culture type things, and independent women, independent wife type
Feminism.
stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. There's the word.
There it
Sum it all
is.
up. There it is.
We're getting into
That
it
can take
today.
that and twist all of
It
that.
can.
Now, I
Mhm.
mean, husbands, yes, be kind to your wives, and that's a whole other topic. But we're gonna
Mhm.
talk about the wife side of things.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, see how that can be twisted though, and
Mhm.
like how women can be a little bit more feminist with that and take it as
Yeah.
I don't know, but
They take it as not what God intended it to be. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Like,
It's
so I don't
2024,
know.
girl.
That's just something like my husband, he is our sole provider. He is the
Mhm,
rock of this family. He is the, foundation and in
mhm.
which keeps us going, I feel like. And with with that, I trust him implicitly. And so submitting to him as a biblical Christian wife is easy for me to do. Now,
Mhm.
that's not to say that I don't have moments where I'm like,
Oh,
wait a minute, you
we
sure
have
about
so
that?
many
Like,
moments. You
so
kidding
many
me?
moments. But I have learned over the years what's important with that is to have those moments behind closed doors.
Mhm.
Like, that
Well,
is not a
in
moment.
prayer too, bring
Yeah.
yourself back out of it.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I mean, how many times me and my neighborhood group of girls joke all the time because we love to have girls' nights, and who doesn't?
Mhm.
I mean, you love to go and sit with your friends and eat dinner and hang out. Like we love girls' nights. But I just feel like sometimes you feel like you need that too much too in a way. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't want to say that in like an ugly way. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean sometimes it's okay to be the one that your kids need, right? It's
Mhm.
okay to be the
Mhm.
one that's tired from doing it all. And
Mhm.
feel like you're doing it all when really your husband's doing a lot as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just forget. And so it kind of goes back to where just focusing on being positive, focus on finding the
Mhm.
positives in
Mhm.
playing this role in your family.
Mhm.
Focus on the positive that those kids are coming to you
Mhm.
for every
Yeah.
little thing, right?
What an amazing role to play, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Hadley said something the other day, and it was a day where she was, like, driving me insane. And she, at one
They're good at that.
moment, said something, it was just back and forth, constant question, 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 and, I try not to get frustrated in those moments, and she was like, I don't know how it came up, but the word she used is, "Mommy and daddy are my safe place."
Mhm.
What an incredible, like,
Well, that's Hadley for you right there.
yeah, but what an incredible feeling. Like, it just took
Right.
everything that she did that day and just like, "Okay, you're
Yeah,
amazing.
right.
You're perfect. I love you so much."
She knew how to do that.
Yeah, but the fact that, like, she sees that and, like, she's so
Mhm.
comfortable to come to us with anything and everything,
Well, I mean,
I mean,
I
it
agree
makes you
too.
think.
I come from a mom that was a stay-at-home mom.
Mhm.
And I look back at my childhood thinking, "Ugh, she was always room mom. She was always there for everything." And I
Mhm.
remember that feeling at the moment, every now and then being like, mom's here again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then, man, to have her there was so comforting.
So comforting, yeah.
And now looking back, I'm like, man, I'm so glad she was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then again, we understand that not everybody can take that role. There's a whole other
Mhm.
role of being a happy, positive, submissive wife as a full-time working mom
Mhm.
too. But again, this is just what we know and what we're living right now. So
Well, and I think, like, to take it back to, like, the husband, like, loving our husbands well, like, we wouldn't be able to be the room moms. We wouldn't be
mhm,
able to do those things if it wasn't for them.
yeah,
And so that just goes to show that, like, I don't know how awesome they are and how much I appreciate Mikey and everything that he does for us. But that doesn't mean that, like, in the ins and outs of the day, I don't tend to sometimes get frustrated because sometimes I am the one in the thick of it and it gets overwhelming and all the things. And it would be so easy for me to be like, you just don't understand. Like,
yeah,
you get to go to work all day, every day. Like, you don't, it would be so easy to do that,
hmm
but you have to choose not to do that. You have to choose to focus on the positive of your role as a mother, focus on the positives of your husband. Do you know
Well,
what
and
I
think
mean?
about what you're saying. You used to do that. You used to work.
Mhm.
And at the time, you wanted nothing but to be a stay-at-home mom. Now you're
Exactly.
going to have those thoughts of like, resentment almost in a way that you are the stay-at-home mom. So here's the whole concept of finding joy in your role, right?
Mhm.
Find the
Yeah,
joy in the role that you're in right now. Because there's
right now.
plenty of days where we do that. We're like, man, it'd be nice sometimes just to wake up, get dressed, take my kids to school, go to work, have conversations with other colleagues,
Adult.
people. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
adults and other than Kelsey
Other
all
than
day
us.
long. Yeah. Have conversations with other adults and like feel like you're needed and making an
Mhm.
impact in another way
In a different
outside of your
area. Yeah.
home. It is. It's a
Mhm.
whole other it's a whole other thing, but if that is the role that you're playing, find the positive in that as well,
Mhm.
or if your role is like us of being the wife and mom and homekeeper, like, find the joy in that too,
Mhm.
because there's
Yeah.
joy in no matter what role you're playing,
Yeah.
the world needs it all, right?
Well, and here's the thing with like finding the joy, looking for the positivity, you're going
Mhm,
to find what you're looking for.
mhm,
So if I am
yeah,
frustrated one day because it is overwhelming and I'm exhausted, and I realize Mikey put his dish in the sink and not in the dishwasher or whatever, like
yep,
I could look at that could take me down a negative spiral and I'm going to find every little negative thing about Mikey that day.
mhm,
Versus if I'm just like,
mhm,
find something positive to focus on, then I'm gonna see positivity, like, or I'm
mhm,
gonna see joy or whatever. Whatever you're focused on is what you're gonna see.
mhm.
It's what you're gonna
Yeah,
find in that person, in your
yeah.
role, whatever it is. Like,
Instead of that dirty dish, find the joy in that your kids are, like, tackling him as he walks through the door because 'cause they're so excited to
exactly.
see
So
him, you know?
excited to see him. Yeah.
There's just there's so much, and if you can find joy in the positive things, find joy
Mhm.
in what's happening around you, turn it
Mhm.
from negative to positive,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many times where I'm, like, starting to cook dinner and I'm like, "Oh, I do not wanna do this tonight," but you know what? My kids are getting a good meal. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Depends on the night.
Lincoln's a little iffy sometimes,
Depends on the night.
It
But
depends on the night, but at least they're seeing me cooking a
Mhm.
decent meal, even if they're not eating it today. One
Yeah.
day they might, be like, "Actually, I'm gonna eat that."
Yeah.
Find the
Mhm.
positive in the
Find the
things,
positive in that.
even if they do just want a cookie for dinner. Um,
Yep.
and same with your husband. So that's another thing is taking pride in the role we're in, taking pride in our homes, right?
Mhm.
Enjoying cooking for your family is
Yeah.
something that kind of comes with this role. And
Well, because I
I
think
say
that's
that
it.
lightly because Brandon grills a lot and he
Yeah,
does
Mikey
enjoy
does
grill.
too,
He's a meat and
especially, like,
potatoes
as it
type.
warms up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do enjoy that as well. The kids playing in the backyard while he's grilling. I mean,
Mhm.
take a step back. Oh, look at all
Yeah,
that. The dirty kitchen after the fact, it can always get cleaned up because guess what? It's going to happen again tomorrow
exactly.
over and
Yeah.
over. But enjoy the good. Enjoy that your husband, in his mind, that's the hardest part of the day to walk in the door, right? Is
Oh,
when they
yeah.
get home. That is the
Yeah.
hardest part. So I will say, as a wife, and this is something my mom has told me, and it just stays. We're gonna probably talk about our moms a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like every episode we mention our moms. Something my mom has kind of instilled in me is, well, the first thing I don't do as well with, but she's always done well, is if say she was still in her pajamas in the afternoon, right?
Mhm.
Before my dad got home from work, she's gonna put some clothes on, a little makeup on her face, and make sure she looks
Yeah.
presentable. She's
Yeah.
always done that. Not that she
Not
sits
because
around in
he
her
doesn't
pajamas all
find
day, but
her
I'm just saying
but
if
not
she
because he
happened to
doesn't
be
find her beautiful as
no, but
is.
it's
It
just
just
it makes her feel better, right? I mean,
Yeah,
think about how
of
much better
course.
you feel
Yeah, when you
when
actually,
you're
like, get up and get ready.
yeah. So that's something she's always done. And then also, um, she has always said, and we talk about a lot in this stage of life because I have little ones that are crazy. So she always says, like, try your best to make your home calm for when your husband gets home. If
Mhm.
you can do anything for him, make sure your house is calm as can be. I have,
Mm,
well, today a
of
5
course.
year old and
No,
3 year old,
we're not gonna talk
5
about
and
that
2
today.
now.
No.
Yeah. But I try my best. It doesn't happen every day, but try not to have dishes in the sink at that point when he's walking in the door. I try, if I've already started dinner, sometimes I have, I try to not just have a mess all over the counter because that is where, everyone kind of goes to as soon as
Yeah.
they walk in. The kids, I try to pick up some toys, but even though they're still playing, I just try to keep it as calm as possible
Mhm.
because that
Well,
is a
because that's
hard thing to walk
yeah.
into is chaos
Mhm.
for a
Yeah.
man. He's
Well,
already had
think about
chaos at
how
work,
chaotic
right?
it is for you as a mom in it all
Right.
day long. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're both which here's the thing, I think our husbands make this easy for you and I to be this way, and
Yeah.
not everybody's gonna have
No.
the situation that we have. But doing these things for our husbands bring us joy because of all they do for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that they make it easy. Mikey is gonna
The
get in
two-way
here
street.
yeah, he's gonna get in here and wash dishes if I've cooked, or he's gonna take
Mhm.
the kids outside for an hour while I cook
Mhm.
dinner, or
It's the best.
like we are an absolute partnership.
Mhm.
And,
But you know what? He's walking in to a home he can see. Now there are days when Brandon walks in and he can tell by the look on my face. He's like, "You okay?"
Absolutely.
And it almost like when he asked me that, I'm like, "Man, I hate that he even had to ask me that because I'm
But that's
obviously
okay. But that's
putting that
okay.
putting
Yeah.
that out there, that day I
Yeah.
have that moment."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Man, that automatically probably makes him feel a little worse," Like it's
But I think at the same time, like, it probably makes him be like, I think he probably walks in the door and is like, I can tell she's had a rough day. Let me get the kids outside for a
yeah,
minute.
and he
Let me
will
just
do
give
that.
her a
Yeah.
minute. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah, and
And
he will
that's
do
where,
that.
like, I think we've both worked so hard to build a partnership rather than just a marriage.
Well, I
Like,
will stand behind this my whole life. I think your marriage should be based on friendship. Well, I mean,
mhm,
obviously God, but I feel
mhm,
like if you can have a solid friendship
mhm.
with your husband, I think that's huge.
Where you like your husband. Like, you
Yeah.
wanna be around your husband. You wanna
Yeah.
like, who is the first person, like, when something
You
happens that you
want to
wanna
go on date
yeah.
night. You
Mhm,
want to go eat dinner, just the two of you. You want to go on vacation, just the two of you. If you
mhm,
can find that, I
mhm.
just feel like that's a huge foundation.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're not gonna every day, every month, every year want your husband to be the one person that you're sitting with talking to.
Yeah.
There's plenty of days where I'm like, I wish I could just go eat dinner with Kelsey tonight.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're gonna
exactly.
have those days as well, but
And that's
you
where
know,
friendships are important, but
yeah,
I think that the relationship with your husband, I mean, God says he says, him, your spouse, and then
mhm,
your kids. And like
yeah,
because one
because
day
your
our kids
kids
are
will
going
be
to be
gone.
gone. Yeah. And like that's a hard one to when your kids are little, that's a hard one to almost wrap your head around, but it's so true. Like one day our babies are going to be gone and building their own lives and it's going to be me and Mikey here and I want us to have already built the routine of us going on a trip together once a year, us doing our date
Well,
nights, which
it's
we've gotta get better
inevitable
about
that
that,
for the
but
rest of our lives, our topic of conversation with our spouse, our husband is gonna be our kids and
yeah.
our grandkids.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
I mean, at this point, I do feel like when me and Brandon go to dinner, half 90% of what we're talking about are our kids because that's
That
what we're
that's
in
where
right
you're
now.
at, yeah.
And
Mhm.
but still it's nice to even like reminisce on the times before kids or
Yeah, and
talk
talk
about
about, like, the
our
future.
upcoming 10-year anniversary trip that we're planning. Like, I don't know, just finding that friendship and laughing
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
um which I know you have no issue with Mikey. Our husbands are both
Yeah.
as different as they are. They're both funny,
Oh, so funny.
in just their own separate ways.
Yeah.
Um,
They're so funny when they get together
oh yeah, yeah,
because 'cause they're
hilarious.
so different, but they're
Yeah,
so funny.
they are. So anyways, yeah, I think that friendship is a solid foundation. And just taking pride in our homes. We kind of got off track of that, but keeping your house, like we've talked about it
Mhm.
before, putting your house to bed before you go to bed, trying to stay on top of the laundry, which gets insane, keeping your house
Yeah.
as calm and kind of picked up as you can, because you don't really know what your husband has gone through at work all day.
Mm-mm.
You're dealing with the chaos of your children, but those are your children. Like, those
Mhm.
are your flesh and blood that you love dearly that are
Mhm.
making you angry. Our husbands
Yeah.
are at work dealing with people,
Grown children.
yeah, grown children
Basically.
that they wouldn't choose to go eat dinner with at night.
Exactly.
I'm not
Well,
talking about
because
like
that's
coworkers. I'm just talking about, I mean, every aspect of work that
yeah.
they have to do.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily enjoyable.
And I don't feel like either one of our husbands are the type that come in the door and they're like, "Ugh, this is what happened today. Can you know what I mean?" Like, they're not quick to just dump on us.
Mhm.
Like,
And if they
they're
are dumping on you, that's just a fraction of it.
yeah, that we're just getting, like, a teeny
Mhm.
tiny piece of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we've talked about this so many times, like, as stay-at-home moms, like, yeah, our kids are a huge part of, like, our responsibility as a stay-at-home mom, but we are both incredibly passionate about not just our kids, but our house,
Mhm.
the groceries, the cooking. We take pride in those things as being a huge piece of our role as a stay-at-home mom.
Mhm.
And that's just something, it's our job, like, and yeah, we're not getting paid for our job, but that's our job as a stay-at-home
You could
mom. You know
argue
what I
that
mean?
though,
You could, yeah.
I
Yeah. We
mean,
don't
you're
have a
not
check
getting
coming
paid.
in.
We don't have a check coming in, but you're saving from paying someone else to take care of your kids,
Yeah, for sure.
Um and you're, I don't know, that's a whole other
Yeah.
subject too. I mean, that takes us to one of our next things we wanted to talk about is not no like tit for tat, not keeping score,
Yeah.
right?
Keeping score of who did what today, or who
Yeah.
did this and who did that, and you got to go golf, so I want to go do this, or you
Yeah.
got to go ride dirt bike, so I want to like.
Yeah. So I need a girls' day. Like you
And
can't do
yeah, you
that.
can't
You
keep
can't keep
score.
score. You cannot keep
Mm-mm.
score. And I have some friends that'll laugh if they listen to this because they've heard me give this speech before. But I feel like
Welcome to her TED talk.
somebody. I love a TED talk, y'all. So I feel like it just makes me laugh. I can get on one.
Yep.
So when you are trying to think about each day being different in who you are and the keeping score and the tit for tat, think about it in that percentage way, 100%, right? So you have two people, you
Mhm.
and your husband. You're not both going to be 100% every day.
Mm-mm.
You're probably
We're
never gonna,
humans. Yeah.
it's rare that you will ever both be 100%
Right.
on the same day.
Mhm.
So you might be 50, he might be 50, right? And that's a pretty good day. Or
Mhm.
you might be 10 and he
Mhm.
might be 90. And
Mhm.
honestly, like try this. Like when they get home from work, if you are at 90% because you had a good day and you're in a good mood, be like, I'm good today. Like whatever you need, let me know, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Or you can say, um, I'm at 10%. Today was rough. I'm gonna need you to
Mhm.
like bear with me. Like
Yeah.
say that, communicate it,
Mhm.
and I just talking to myself too. I could be better about that for sure.
Communication is a huge piece to
Yeah.
all of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 'Cause
And
they're not
I
mind
learned
readers.
that having our first baby. I look back, that was probably the hardest time of our marriage, I would say, was probably after having the baby because I wanted him like, why is he not doing this? Like, why is he not helping me
Mhm.
do this? Why is he
Mhm.
not um getting up tonight with her, like things like that, when I
Mhm.
never told him.
You never
Men do
asked
not
for it.
know what
No.
to do at what
No.
time. They don't know they need a bottle right now, like make it. Just
No.
ask
Because they
them.
weren't that's who God created us to be. Like,
Exactly.
we what's the science, like, I don't know the science behind it, but apparently, like, moms, like, we don't even sleep the same way a dad sleeps because we're
Oh no.
wired
Y'all,
to hear.
our
Yeah.
cycles, this is a whole like health version of it, but we go through a 28 30-day cycle that men go through every single day. They
Mhm.
they cycle through it every single day when we cycle through it, you know, we have a whole week of being in a mood.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
when they just have like a couple hours
Yeah.
maybe in the afternoon before
Mhm.
they get, and then they're right back to it.
And then they're right
Like
back to it. Yeah.
we're different people.
Mhm.
So communication is
Is
100% huge.
huge.
And that's something I've always had to work on because I'm not a great communicator or I'm not a huge emotional person.
Mm,
Kelsey knows
I
that.
am. I got the emotions.
Yeah.
But that's something, like, we've had to work through. I used to and I mean, I still do this at times, but, like, I am very quick to dump my emotions on Mikey. And,
Mhm. Mhm.
I will say, the last 17 months, I've learned so much about myself since losing my dad.
Yeah.
But I've learned so much about my marriage, and I think, like, that's something that, Mikey has carried me through the last 17 months. And,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
I mean,
He's yeah.
he's been phenomenal since the moment, like, he had to tell me that my dad died. Like, what kind of
Ugh, I'll never
a
forget. I got a
burden that
text from
is.
him. I was sitting in
Yeah.
church and I got a
Yeah.
text.
But, like,
Mhm.
he was the one that physically had to tell me that my dad died
Mhm.
and get me to my mom because we were 3 hours away. And, so I've just learned so much about him and our marriage and my emotions and, like, all that stuff these last 17 months. And
That goes
where,
with those seasons of life and how
yeah,
it changes in your marriage, and that was a
but it could
tragedy in y'all's
have,
marriage,
yeah, that could have
and
broken us, that could have torn us apart. But I can honestly say, like, losing my dad, as painful as that has been,
mhm,
there has been so much that God has used from that. And part of that has been bringing Mikey and I to the best place our marriage has ever been,
yeah,
which is
and
insane, you know?
yeah, it is because it could have very easily gone the opposite direction,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
that's huge,
For
but
sure.
a lot of that is your core of your marriage, you
Mhm.
brought it back to God, so,
Yeah.
there's a whole other topic there,
I know. We have so
Yeah,
many topics. Okay,
I'm
I think we're
gonna
gonna have to do a part 2 of this
we
because
might have to do a part 2, but I mean,
okay.
kinda just a wrap this up, but our what we want to tell you is, and what we try and strive to do every day. And again, we're not perfect with it. This is just our view of where we're at right now. We both kind of are in the same phase of being at home. Is find the joy in your role that you're living. Go to God when you need to, of course, but find the joy
Mhm.
in the role that you are living, and just find the positive.
Mhm.
Look
Be your
back at your life.
husband's be your
And
husband's biggest cheerleader. Like, don't
yes,
you know what I mean? Like, don't be somebody that brings him down or talks negatively about him. Like, be his biggest cheerleader, and he's gonna do the same for you.
y'all,
You know?
most men, it is there. We know what their number one love language is, right? I
Yep.
mean, we don't even have to talk about that. You know what their
Nope.
number one love language is. Second is, as much as they probably don't want to admit it, but words of affirmation is pretty much there for a lot of men, and your
I'd say
husband is
mine would be more
definitely,
acts of service.
yeah,
I think Mikey's more he's a big acts of service,
yeah, I could
you
see
know?
that for sure.
But
Brandon's
that's also how
definitely,
he which we can get into this in part 2, but
yeah,
that's, like, learning how you want to receive love, but also how you give it and figuring that out too.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, good. I think this is a good start. We'll
Yeah.
definitely get into a part two because there's some things we haven't even talked on yet, that we would love to. So maybe next week we'll just round it out with a
Yeah.
part two,
Yeah.
and maybe even chat with our husbands between now and then and see
Ooh.
kind of what a
Maybe we can
little,
get I don't think we can get them on by part 2 of this, but I
yeah,
would love to have Mikey and Brandon on here
yeah, yeah.
one
If
day.
you would, if you want to see them together on a podcast, let us know because
Oh, that'd be comical. There'd be a
yes, it
lot of
would.
editing to that one.
100%. They're terrible. Anyways, I'm so glad that you listened. Stay tuned. Make sure if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube podcast.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
we will see you every Wednesday for
Well,
now.
that's the goal is
That's the goal.
Wednesdays. It might be Thursday, it might be Friday, who knows?
The goal is Wednesdays. That's
There we
right.
go.
Because remember, we do
Yeah.
have little ones and you never know what's going to
Mhm.
happen. Next week is spring break, but we'll still try to get this part two to you. And yeah, I guess that's it for
And
now.
again,
Thanks for
I just wanna
listening.
say real quick because this is a
Yeah.
topic that could ruffle some feathers.
Hmm.
Well, that is not our intent here. Our intent
No.
here is to just, like, share some things that we've learned along the way, some
Hmm.
things that has pulled us out of, dark places in our marriage to some better places and, just kind of helped us with that.
Yeah.
And we know not everybody's going to agree with us and not everybody's marriage is going to look like this, but this is us. This is our season. This is something that's really important to us. So yeah, so it's not our intent is not to ruffle feathers. So hopefully we don't do that. But
We're
if
literally just chatting on our life, our
yeah,
season,
hmm
and what we strive for.
yeah,
Again, we're not perfect, but this is how
mm-mm,
we try to keep our positive
exactly,
mindset and
yeah,
try hard to love our husbands well.
yeah.
So, all right. Well, we'll see
All
y'all
right,
next time. Bye.
sounds good. Bye.